Hey guys, so another video sitting on the floor in front of a couch. You know what that means. An honest YouTuber rant coming up. No, honestly, it's not really a rant. It's just I was so honest in my last video and you guys really responded well to it. So I thought, let's continue this kind of honesty. And we're going to talk about a touchy subject of sustainability. Now, I have done multiple videos on my channel talking about sustainability and ethical fashion and things like that, which go hand in hand, the ethical fashion and sustainability. So I still stand behind all those videos that I did, but hindsight's 2020, right? Looking back, I feel like those videos weren't as genuine or appropriate or accurate as they could have been, at least when it comes to actually being sustainable, like what it truly means to be sustainable and eco-friendly and help save the planet and reduce waste, which is ultimately the goal of sustainability, is to reduce the amount of waste that we produce. At their core of those videos, my intentions were good. I truly do believe in sustainability and doing what you can and making small changes that don't deeply affect your lifestyle. I'm not saying go and become a minimalist or anything to reduce your impact on the earth. So my intentions were good. However, I was still somewhat promoting consumerism in those videos and promoting that you still need to buy more and, you know, all these sustainable products, like buy all these products that you can, you know, bring into your house to be more sustainable. But the biggest thing that I have learned when it comes to sustainability, like true good intentional sustainability, is to use what you have. If you have something that works, why replace it with something that's bamboo? Like, it doesn't, at the end of the day, that is the most sustainable thing that you can do, is to use what you already own or make the most of it. Repurpose things that you already have instead of bringing in all this new stuff that's under, you know, in the name of sustainability and being eco and things like that. Bringing in more stuff, even if it is considered eco-friendly or sustainable or whatever, is still bringing in more clutter and ultimately creating more waste in the long run. A big part of my journey in sustainability was looking at Amazon a lot and websites and seeing what I could buy to be more sustainable, which is so backwards to me. I wasn't focusing on what I already owned and what I could use in my house, what I could repurpose, or what was still good enough to use, but I still wanted to focus on what I could buy to be more sustainable instead of those things that I could just continue using even if they're not technically sustainable. Getting rid of them, it seems less sustainable than just keeping them in my house and using them because they were fine. Just because you buy sustainable products to replace the unsustainable products in your house, if you end up throwing those things away or donating them or getting rid of them, that's creating waste, is it not? Now, obviously this idea doesn't apply to things that you replace on a regular basis, paper towels, toothbrushes. I still highly recommend switching to bamboo toothbrushes. It's not a big life change, but it does make a difference. Like, it can make a difference. Obviously, I'm still for switching, you know, things that we reuse a lot on a regular basis, switching to sustainable products. But when it comes to items like cutting boards was a big thing. I bought bamboo ones. We have another wood one. And I thought I was going to get rid of all my plastic cutting boards at the end of the day because I replaced them with sustainable ones. But throwing those plastic cutting boards in the trash seemed so unsustainable to me. So guess what? Now I have a collection of plastic and bamboo cutting boards because they're all still functioning. They all still work just fine. Also, another thing I did is I started collecting glass jars, marinara sauce, pickle jars, things like that. I would collect these glass jars and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna repurpose these for things. After like 3 in my house, I just ended up with a big ass collection of jars. It just didn't suit my existing lifestyle if I didn't already have a purpose in mind for that thing. So when it comes to repurposing, don't just keep things for the sake of sustainability and just for the sake of keeping them just in case. Have a purpose in mind or look up ideas for those things, because I still don't know what to do with the glass jars. Like, I just don't have a need for them, and so I'm trying to fit this idea that other people use these glass jars for and fit it into my lifestyle, but to me that's just adding more clutter and more stuff in my house that I just don't need. So obviously I recommend switching over to sustainable items. You can watch my other videos. Some of them have good advice, good tips, good switches to make, and some are just like, why? Just kind of wasteful in and of themselves. There are still things that we as individuals can switch to, but here's a big statement, I don't think it'll ever be enough. And I know that's really discouraging. I don't want this to come across as really negative, but ultimately at the end of the day, 3 companies make up 70% of the population of the world. So it's these big corporations and big companies that ultimately could make the biggest difference in the earth and how long the earth survives. Yet it comes down on the individual's shoulders. The pressure and the stress of it all ends up on the individual. It puts it onto us to solve the problem. The shame and the pressure and the guilt that is forced upon us from other people online, especially online, but just in general, isn't fair. I'm not implying that we shouldn't try as individuals, because there are small things that we can do that will make a difference collectively, but like we all gotta do it at the same time, right? We all gotta put in that effort. One person isn't going to make a difference, but thousands and thousands, if not millions of people will make the difference. I'm just ranting, yelling at my camera. What's new? I still, of course, stand behind reducing the amount of plastic that you use and just, you know, being more sustainable day to day. It doesn't hurt anything as long as you're not miserable or you are able to do it, then why not, right? But being sustainable isn't always achievable for everyone, whether you're disabled or you live in poverty. Like, it's not an achievable lifestyle for everyone, and unfortunately, we do kind of need, on a large scale, most of the population to be more sustainable, and it's just not possible. Some people just cannot make those changes. I'm not saying individuals can't make a big difference, because if you just look at the vegan food industry, obviously that has grown so much just in the last 5 to 10 years. And then we have brands that are becoming more cruelty-free and, of course, boycotting fast fashion. We can vote with our dollars for those things. The problem with sustainability is, how do we vote with our dollars if the most sustainable thing we can do is to not buy so much? I'm glad sustainability kind of became trendy lately, you know, with the stainless steel straws and things like that, and it is bringing awareness to the damage that we're actually doing to our planet. But at the end of the day, it's not about trends. It's not about promoting the most sustainable items that you can purchase, which is a backwards thought process when it comes to sustainability. It's actually about changing behaviors and making the effort, and we need that genuine effort, not just because it's trendy, but we need it to really survive. And another thing that I really don't like when it comes to online culture is this virtue signaling of when it comes to plastic and things, and shaming people publicly online for using a one-time use cup or a plastic straw or something. And it's like, no one is perfect. We are not perfect people. No one can hold us to that standard, because it's not fair. Criticizing so harshly your choices online, it's not encouraging at all. If anything, it's discouraging, because they're not going to want to try then. If they're not good enough for trying the small ways that they are, not being perfect, but they're trying, if that's not good enough, then why try at all? And that goes for food as well, and being vegan. When you encourage people to just do what they can, that is achievable, because they set their own limits and they choose what they want to change, and they choose what is doable for them and their lifestyle. If they need plastic straws because of a disability, let them have their plastic straws. Everyone's life and lifestyle is going to be different, so just let them choose what they can do for themselves and for the environment. That is what's going to change people's behaviors at the end of the day, not promoting perfection, not promoting this perfect idea of sustainability and owning basically nothing. That's not going to be achievable for most people. People sometimes are going to get a Starbucks to go in a plastic cup. That's just going to happen sometimes. And we have to be okay with letting these things slide, because ultimately, at the end of the day, the real culprits and what's going to really impact the earth are those 3 companies and the big corporations. Individuals, yes, as collectively we can make a difference, but the guilt and shame and pressure should not just rest on the individual's shoulders. So back to the concept of promoting products online and some of the videos that I did in the name of sustainability. I want to address that I promoted a lot of items that can be purchased on Amazon, but you know, I'd have links to things that I would purchase from Amazon and like things that I ordered that were sustainable. You know, ordering things online, not sustainable. When you order something online, it has to get to your doorstep somehow. How do you think it gets there? You have emissions from the traveling that it needs, whether by plane, truck, That's pretty much it. Plane or truck, it's getting to your house. It has to be packaged properly and securely, so that often means excessive packaging because they want to make sure it gets to you safely. It means a lot of plastic. They have those like plastic air pocket things that they put in all their Amazon packages. And then what you do is you take the box, you open it up, take your little stainless steel straws out and throw all of that away. There is more packaging that goes into your items than the actual items themselves. So obviously one of my biggest tips for actually being sustainable is when you can, buy the things that you need in store. Obviously you have to travel to the store as well, so there is some emissions there, but you're not gonna have all the packaging that it requires to get to your house. So obviously I don't wanna leave this video with no advice, like genuine advice on how to actually be sustainable, and I have been trying. Like I'm a work in progress. It's been a journey. I am really determined to kind of make changes in my life, of course, and I do think that it doesn't hurt for us to make these changes, right? So why wouldn't we try to do at least the bare minimum? So I don't want to leave this video really negative, like it'll never be enough, don't even bother, like it's all coming down to the corporate level. But it does mostly come down to the corporate level. So just saying that I think it will ultimately have to come down to these companies to make the changes to really make an impact on the environment, right? But obviously we can do our own part in things and try our best and be the best consumers and people living on this earth. So I want to give you some real attainable advice that will actually make an impact, that has nothing to do with purchasing anything. You don't have to click on anything in the description. I'm not going to link you to any product. This isn't about promoting consumerism, because that at the end of the day is not sustainable at all, and we do it way too much in our society. So we have to look at some of the biggest contributors of pollution that we actually have control over with what our actions are around them. We have agriculture, fashion production, and waste. So agriculture is one of, if not the biggest contributor to air pollution than all other human sources. And a solution to this that is attainable for everyone is to eat less meat. That's all you gotta do. You don't have to be vegetarian, you don't have to be vegan, just eat less meat. You can do it. Try to commit to at least one vegetarian meal a day, if not a whole day a week. That would be great. Obviously, it's never going to be reasonable to expect everyone to become vegetarian, let alone vegan. It's just not gonna happen. But if you encourage people to just generally eat less meat and dairy in their diets, whether it be one whole day a week, a whole week out of a month out of a year, whatever it may be, whatever you can do and what you can control, that is what you should be doing. And you know what that amount of meals that you eat without meat and dairy are. Not only is this great for the environment, but it has been proven through studies and time again through research that it is gonna be great, have a great impact on your physical health. Even just one meal a day without meat or dairy is going to have a huge impact on your health and the planet. Another achievable thing that you can do is to reduce the amount of fast fashion you purchase, and just in general, reduce the amount of clothing that you purchase. So the consumerism mindset of clothing is a somewhat recent phenomenon when we look at the human experience. It is 100% now about making money and of course expressing yourself in fashion and things like that, of course. But realistically, the companies don't care about you. They care about money. So obviously shop smarter, think about what you're bringing into your house, what you're purchasing, make sure you really love it, because you're gonna have that for a long time. And if you think that you won't, don't buy it, because if you're not gonna house that item for a long time, it's not worth the money and it's not worth the waste that you're going to be creating by getting rid of it. Obviously shop secondhand when you can. I think that's a great way to reduce waste, but obviously that's not a solution for everyone. Not everyone can shop secondhand, so if that's really inconvenient, simply just reduce the amount of clothing you're purchasing in general. The average person owns and buys way more clothing than they will ever need. And of course there's other ethical reasons to reduce the amount of fast fashion that you purchase. I have a whole video on it up here, but again, it doesn't have to be an all or nothing thing. I don't want to come across as preachy or judgy or anything like that. Do what you can. If you can't thrift or shop secondhand, just buy less clothes in general that you buy at Forever 21. Just buy a couple things less. I think it's still always going to be important that we do our part, but if you can't for one reason or another, whatever that reason is, don't let people, or don't let the weight of the world fall on your shoulders. Don't let people make you feel shame and guilt because you just can't make the switch to something, God knows what, whatever. Don't allow others who are not perfect, by the way, because that doesn't exist, make you feel inadequate inadequate when it comes to you at least trying. If you are trying, then you are doing better than probably half the population right now. Whether it be you're eating less meat, you're just buying less in general, you're switching from plastic to something else that's more sustainable. You're trying. If you're doing your best, then that's all that anyone can ever ask of you. However small your actions might be, you're still doing better than a majority of the population, because a lot of people, when it comes to veganism, fast fashion, sustainability, eco-friendly things, all of that, a lot of it is promoted in an all or nothing way, and it makes it so unachievable for the average person to adopt that mindset. So just like anything, just like all of those, sustainability does not have to be an all or nothing thing. Just do your part, try to make the best choices that you can for yourself and for the planet. I just feel like it's misplaced shame that we are putting onto the individual instead of where it really should go, and that is on the corporations and these big companies that are polluting and killing the planet. I hope you took something away from this and you try to make a difference with some of these more achievable lifestyle changes that are not hard to do at all. I'm not saying all or nothing for any of these things. Just try your best. That's ultimately what it comes down to. If every single person tried their best and made a few changes here and there, we'd be in a much different situation right now, because collectively as a population, obviously we make an impact too, just like these companies do. But because there's only a handful of people trying to be perfect, that's not going to help anything. That's not going to make up for the billions of people that can't or won't. And it's definitely not going to make up for the companies that won't. If you have any other advice that you want to share down in the comments, please do. I hope we all read it, go through it, and we learn some new things about real sustainability, not buying products, not bringing in more clutter and waste into our house. We don't need that. That's not sustainable. So real, sound, sustainability advice, I'd love to hear it down in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.